We saw this mass migration, this people movement, which is a historic people movement of Muslims from Islamic nations, tending to be the most radicalized nations, from those nations into nations that are known as Western Christendom. So you don't see this mass migration into Russia or into China or into Indonesia. This mass migration is all headed toward Western Christendom. In fact, here in Minnesota, where you and I live, there was just a report in the news this week that said that Minnesota, we are the #1 population of Somalis outside of Somalia. We are going to have the highest level of immigration this year that we've ever had. That was announced that it's going to happen. Well, the people that are coming in are not Christians, generally speaking. Very, very few, if any, are Christians that are being moved. It is primarily only Muslims and only young men. 80% tend to be young men going into Europe right now, and for instance, but they also come from the most radicalized Islamists. This clearly is an invasion. This is a planned invasion, not only in Europe, but also in the United States. I believe for the specific purpose of destroying Western Christendom, because that has been the strength of the world economically, but also the strength of the world in terms of leadership, the nations that are known as Western Christendom. I just want to give you one example. The Gatestone Institute is a fabulous organization, and they had an article that came out on the Islamization of France in 2015. We know that Angela Merkel, the Chancellor of Germany, brought in 1.1 million Muslims last year into Germany, just in Germany alone. France already was further down the road. And this is a direct quote. We are in a war against jihadist terrorism that threatens the entire world. This is what the leader of France said, Hollande. The Muslim population of France, and I'm quoting from the Gatestone Institute, the Muslim population in France reached 6.5 million in 2015, 10% of the overall population. In real terms, France has the largest Muslim population in the European Union, even more than Germany. And then they go through an entire year of all of the terror attacks, beginning with that Charlie Hebdo attack, when they went into the magazine and they killed people, and then they went to a synagogue and were killing Jews. All year long, it's been Islamic jihad 24/7, terrorist bloodbath attacks 24/7. And I want to just read one from this last December of 2015. 70 employees at the 2 main airports in Paris. I've flown in and out of those airports at least a dozen times myself. Nearly 70 employees at the 2 main airports in Paris had their security clearances revoked after they were identified as being Islamic extremists. In other words, they are true believers. Here at the Minneapolis-St. Paul Airport, the FBI picked up 4 that were members of the Islamic State that worked at the Minneapolis Airport. The more we bring people into Western Christian countries, Islamic sympathizers and true believers, the more we will continue to see this problem.